Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. You're watching iAllegedly. And got a good one for you today because the Fed is basically playing chicken with the markets and with all of us as well. And before I get into it, please take a second. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. But let's get into it right away. First things first, chicken. Chicken's a game that we basically learned when we were kids. You look at another kid who blinks first, is the loser. Basically you can, ride your bike at each other and whoever turns away is the loser, and then you saw it in the movie Grease, Danny Zuko and the gang member, driving at each other, and then the gang member turns away at the last second and Danny won. The Fed is doing this with the markets right now. And let's put it this way, if the Fed wins, here's what's going to happen. You're going to have inflation brought back down to a realistic level, which is great. But in the meantime, you're going to have your retirement funds completely destroyed. You're going to have the stock market completely destroyed. You're going to have the housing market completely destroyed. And it's going to absolutely affect all of us for decades, okay, if this happens. Now, if the market wins, you're going to have inflation like we've never seen before. And it's continuing. And I think that this is a lose-lose situation right now, and that the inflation problem is not going to go away. What these guys are doing, trickling these interest rate rises, are not going to help, to say the least. And with that, there's consequences to all this stuff right now. Now, here's the thing. When you look at real estate right now, we are seeing month over month, we are seeing, that the housing bubble has officially started, first of all. And you're seeing that the sale of houses year over year has dropped 21%. But there's something about this that you can sit there and say, wait a second, there's some good news in this. The good news in this is that new home sales have shot up in the last month 28%. And you can sit there and say, well, wait a second, this is not the end. The real estate market, when you have it, the new sales taking off like this shows how good the economy is. Nope. I'm gonna show you something. Don from Ohio, a great subscriber, sends me news stories all the time, but sent me the greatest news story from Schumacher Homes, which I started to research, and other home builders are doing this. If you buy a home from Schumacher right now, you can get a fixed rate mortgage for a set period of time. In other words, it's going to have a balloon to it. It's going to pop, and you're going to have to refinance it at that point of 2.75%. It is better than interest rates were at the beginning of the year. Oh my God, honey, we can afford that. Things are going to come down. You're going to have a new administration. You're going to have Congress is going to change. Interest rates are going to drop back down to the twos. We're going to be fine. No, you're not, okay? But the influx of sales right now has led people to believe falsely that the real estate market is good right now. Now, had a man write me, subscriber, and tell me about a house that was $300,000, okay? So modest house, Midwest, nice place, okay? And $300,000. And the seller had turned down an offer. So I got to walk up on the main drag for a little bit. Seller had turned down an offer for $315,000, $15,000 over ask. This is this week, guys. That house is under contract right now for $340,000. Now, guys, it's 15% higher than the original asking price. It's crazy, guys. It's absolutely nuts. So this false sense that the real estate market is good right now is going to end very, very quickly. And I'm going to use Orange County as a perfect example. Great story below about how Orange County, and I got to use a little cheat sheet here to make sure I get the numbers right. Okay, think about this. Sales here in Orange County, lucrative Orange County, includes the beach, includes the water, includes everything. Sales are off 31% from where they were a year ago. That's huge, guys. It's almost a third of the number of sales that are off. And the problem, month over month, last month we had a 28% drop, and it's getting worse. But here's the problem. House payments. here in Orange County, year over year, okay, have jumped 47%. 47% the house payments have gone up over the course of the last year. If you don't think that this is going to affect your, ability to buy a house, housing prices, you're kidding yourself. Now, housing prices have dropped 5.1% during this time. That's huge, guys. It's unbelievable that people don't want to look at that and sit there and say, uh-oh, there's a huge problem with this. But again, the Fed, hey, they're not going to do anything in October. They're going to meet in November, and they're going to do something serious. Well, what does this mean, guys? It doesn't mean that they're going to fix anything. Globally, this is happening. And it doesn't matter where you live. You're going to start to have people freeze to death because of the energy problems right now, and because of natural gas prices, and because of heating oil prices. And guys, oh, you're being very dramatic, Dan. No, it doesn't work this way. Think about this. There are people that set up their retirement 5, 8, 10 years ago, thinking that they're going to have a steady climb in their money, and then they wake up and they realize, hey, we need to live on X amount of dollars a month. Let's say it's $5,000 a month. We need to live on $5,000 a month. Well, now what happens when $5,000 doesn't do it and it's $7,000 a month to do the exact same thing? And if you don't think that that's happening, you're kidding yourself. Now, you can stretch it and say, wow, if I had a $5,000 retirement, I'd be really doing good. How about if it's $1,500 and now it's $2,000? They're done, finished, guys. And it just leaves the elderly and the people that have very little money upside down completely. So that's where we're headed right now, guys. And again, the Fed is doing nothing. Our leadership is doing nothing too. They're just, talking and trying to tell us what's going on. This brings up a good point. All the expiring benefits right now, whether it be social programs, whether it be unemployment, I get a lot of people that write me about how they want to see unemployment benefits extended because of just them being upside down right now. This is not going to happen, guys. And the problem with it is that people have a tendency to do this the wrong way. And what the wrong way is that let's say you get unemployment.
Hi, brother.
Okay? You get unemployment. And your job at that point is to go look for a job. It's not to sit there and collect unemployment. That's where people make the mistake. People get these benefits and don't do anything, and then, I hope they extend them so I can still not do anything. No, that's not how it's supposed to work. These are short-term stopgaps in your finances to help you. And again, I talk to business owners. Okay, we've got this money, we've put away this war chest, and we're gonna be fine. By the way, isn't this beautiful out here? Look at those beautiful boats. Just a beautiful, serene day. It's nice. But people make this mistake all the time. And again, it doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, struggling, you're middle class. It's everybody, guys. This happens to all of us, and people make these mistakes all the time. Now, half the people interviewed, think about this, half of the people that were interviewed in the great article below said that they plan on quitting their job, like a great, resignation from last year, that they're going to quit their job again in the next year. They hate who they work for, they hate the company, they hate the culture, they hate everything. People hate being around other people right now. The last 2.5 years has taught us one thing. It's, you know what, I'm okay by myself. I don't need to sit there and gossip at the water cooler and hear about this stuff, okay? Now, think about this. Here's the problem. 70% of the people surveyed said that they're looking for a second gig right now to make ends meet. Guys, that's a lot of everybody, okay, that are out there, and they're just trying to get by right now, trying to squeeze enough money out of their life so they can pay their bills. And that's not to get ahead, to get rich, to go buy a boat. This is just to pay your bills. So, with that, look at everything you can do to make money on the side. You have to do that. And the other thing is, I was waiting for this because it's late this year, and it's really late this year, and that Walmart and Target announced between the two of them that they're going to hire 140,000 part-time workers for the holidays. And they need these workers right away. Now, get paid an hourly wage, walk through the store, restocking the stores, security, I always thought it would be great to be one of those, private shoppers where you just sit there and act like you're looking at merchandise to make sure people aren't stealing all day. That'd be the coolest job ever, but that'd be the case. Walmart is starting to hire, Target's starting to hire. So, share your thoughts on all this stuff, guys. You're not seeing Best Buy do this as much in the past. Best Buy's remodeling a lot of their stores right now. A good case of wishful thinking on their part. There is a bill circulating Congress right now that would be amazing if it went through, and that would ban politicians from trading stocks while they're in office and not having their assets in anything other than a blind trust. And if you've learned anything, over the course of the last few years, is that these people make a tremendous amount of money when they are in office, and it does not make an ounce of sense to me why Nancy Pelosi is so rich. But there are stock groups that I have followed that if you follow Nancy Pelosi, it's up an absolute ton. Her husband, Paul Pelosi, he's the greatest guy ever when it comes to trading stocks. Absolutely a genius. And crazy numbers that this guy's come up with. Now, along with that, Cathie Wood of ARK. Cathie Wood is doing something very telling right now. Think about this. Cathie Wood is going to invest in non-public companies. She's going to invest in late-stage companies outside of the public realm. And that, guys, that's a huge deal. What this is private companies. And again, there's a huge amount of money. Rich people have money, and I always recommend that people go to family offices, people make presentations to rich individuals. If you are a startup and you have an idea, or you have technology or medical technology, science, tech, whatever it is, okay? Anything, social media, anything, talk to rich individuals first, because you have a great chance if you convince one person, man or woman, to go along for the ride. And let's say we need 50 grand here, and then we need 100 grand here. It's much easier to deal with one person than a committee. It's much easier to deal with one person that believes in your goals and can write a check for that. But Cathie Wood doing this says she doesn't have faith in the financial markets. Now, a ton of people are going to say she's a loser and she's lost all this money and she's made all these bad decisions. Maybe so. But there is a woman, a very, very wealthy woman, that is going to be writing checks to people, and people need to look at this. And again, alternatives. Don't do things in a traditional manner right now. Where you're going to make money and where you're going to get ahead right now is to be innovative, to be revolutionary, to be different right now is the best thing that you can do. And what that means is do something completely out of the norm right now. If you do that, you will get money, you will get ahead, and you can fix your finances, you can fix your business, you can do a lot of things right now. But look at everything. There is so much alternative financing out there. And yes, sometimes the interest rates are higher, but sometimes they can be things based on your merchant cards and what you do in your credit cards. And there's no sweat. If you have a down week, or it rains, or something happens in your business that affects it, you don't have the sweat of making that payment until you swipe the credit card again. So, billionaires right now are starting to unload their art. And excuse me, let me back that up. Millionaires are starting to unload their art, and billionaires are starting to step in and buy it. There's a great scene from the TV show Billions where Bobby Axelrod is trying to convince this guy that he wants his fund to come over, and trying to convince this guy who's got hundreds of millions of dollars that he's broke, and that he lives a lifestyle that's so much where he has to get rid of the private planes, the helicopters. And what'd you do with all your art? Well, I bought what the art dealer told me to. You gotta unload that. Well, that's what's gonna happen right now, but the billionaires are gonna swoop it up, just like you're gonna be able to swoop up small boats, you're gonna be able to swoop up these electric bikes that we see all over Southern California. You're gonna see that. Wanna hear something totally disgusting that makes me sick? Walmart in Huntington Beach, California has a huge section of bikes, and they bring them out in the springtime and people buy all these bikes. These degenerates buy bikes, not everybody, but there's degenerates that buy bikes, ride them for the summer, Labor Day hits, and they bring them back to Walmart to get a refund. And they get an influx of used bikes brought back in. Isn't that sick? Can I get my money back? Just not doing what we wanted it to do. whatever lie these people tell, but this is from Walmart directly. There's a place in hell for those people to save $100 for that $89 bike that they bought. So, share your thoughts on all this stuff so far, guys. This is just getting nuts right now. And again, growing up, single mom, living in an apartment complex at certain times in my life, and the game of chicken came out. I was thinking about, oh man, when we were kids, the stuff that we did, we would do tag team wrestling to where everybody kid would get beaten to a pulp. And you'd be laying there all bruised up, and you just couldn't get the big guy down. And then we'd all sit together and let's play football, okay? And then we'd all go play together. So there's some value in stuff like that. Things that we did that kids don't have today. And my kids always loved the story. Hey, tell us those stories. But kids today, they're at their faces buried in their iPads, and it's too bad. But we kind of lived good doing that stuff. So the Fed is going to hurt us, though, guys. I'm telling you this right now. If you haven't seen it yet, if you are convinced that this is all okay, you are kidding yourself. Think about this when it comes to real estate. In the last 30 days, there were 64,000 contracts that people backed out of on housing deals around the country. And what we're seeing is a huge amount of people back out of the Sunbelt states. We know the problems in Vegas. Vegas is one of the big problems, but now you're seeing it in Florida. Now, here's the thing, this hurricane, I wonder what that's gonna do to Florida real estate, if it's gonna make people want to stay away. But you're going to see areas that haven't been hit by a storm like this in 25 years. So it's awful, man. It is just terrible. And again, inevitably you're going to get the people that say, hey, you cannot make me leave. And the local municipalities, the sheriff, the police, fire department, for some of these areas have said, listen, after we've said mandatory evacuation, if you do not leave, you're on your own. You cannot call us for help. And my girlfriend was reading me these stories last night, and I'm like, wow, that is crazy, that somebody's going to sit there if they're in the direct path of this thing. And you're talking 3-4 days to leave your house. Go sleep in your car and live. So that's just me. But these Sunbelt states, Arizona, Florida, even Texas is starting to have people drop out of their contracts, and it's happening more and more and more and more and more. So Vegas, though, I really want the latest numbers. The last number I had is that there was 11,000 listings in Vegas. I want to know if there's more right now. Let me know. Globally, there are things that mean more to some people than others. The World Cup, for example. The World Cup is going to be in a country called Qatar this year. Qatar. It's going to be the most expensive World Cup on record because they spent $200 billion to bring it to Qatar. Now, great article below on this, and I'm like, what do you spend $200 billion? Well, it's all the infrastructure. It's all the influx of people traveling there, and people with subways and buses and roads and freeways and stadiums and places to sleep and everything, in addition to the $5 billion stadium that they spent. So it's crazy, guys. There is just, an abundance of money that's being spent for that. Couple last things to finish this video. Just a quick video today. And that is, there is a great story about people that are lonely and how they suffer from health problems over people that are active and around people. One thing that I miss about having my medical events is that, I would have mixers where we would go out and we would have drinks and food, a couple hours, once a month, mix up the cities, San Diego, LA, Orange County, and it was great. But what I would do is I would get these retired scientists that were basically rock stars amongst the medtech community. And you'd get Leonard and you'd get Philip and all these people that would come out and just hang out for a couple hours, and they loved it. They looked forward to it because they would get access to everybody, but they would also meet all these great people, and it was something that they absolutely looked forward to. But you would get access to talking to these scientists without having to pay them. And that's the thing is, you know, people, you want knowledge, you want access to technology questions, and you want to know what works and what doesn't work. And you've got a guy that's got 30 patents, and you can sit there and have a drink with them and talk to him. It's great. That is killing us right now, and people are dramatically affected by that, and health is dramatically affected. I'm telling you guys, get out right now. Go meet people, go talk to people, go have a life. You know, I'm going to a conference this week. There's a lot of cool stuff happening, but you've got to get out amongst them, and you'll just be happier. You'll be so much better off when you do that. The job market, when it comes to fast food, is going to change. And people, you know, the more I talk about like food and restaurants and all the stuff that people sent me, people get really sick of this stuff. They get really sick of the, you know, bad service. They get sick of having to pay extra tips, all these different inflation fees, and then find out that what you're eating is not even clean. That's disgusting. Chipotle, or as my daughter calls it and her friends, Chipotle is going to bring out a new tortilla maker that is going to be called Chippy, and Chippy's going to make tortillas for people. And Chippy's going to revolutionize the time that it takes to make a tortilla, but people will go there and watch this machine make tortillas and cook the tortillas. It's just a matter of time, guys, until that happens. So, you know, this is going to be a big expense for the California location that has it, but after that, after the expense, it's going to pay for itself in the long run and get rid of the headache of an employee. And that's the thing. People just don't want to sit there and realize how the liability that you have with people and paying them, you know, there's a lot to it. So please do not forget to hit the like button. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Share this with all your friends. Let me know what else you'd like to see. Onward and upward, guys. I will see you very soon.